Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of
Startup Chat.
I'm Afshin Deuce.
I'm Mo.
Hi, Mo.
Hello.
How you doing?
Great.
So, what do you want us to talk about today?
I want to learn about funding. I know you have very good experience in funding in startups, investing in startups. For me, I was the builder always, okay?
Okay.
I wasn't engaged in business part and doing funding and every other thing.
Okay.
I had a bless with co-founders helping me raising fund, and I was just building.
Okay.
So I want to learn from you. Stage of fundraising.
Okay. First of all, you're extremely humble.
I'm not.
I think. Do you have ego?
Yeah.
When was it we talked about ego? It was like a few episodes
Yeah.
ago. How much ego do you have? More than you should, or just enough?
I think more than I should.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that if you want.
Let's go.
Okay. So, how do you know you've got more ego than you should?
So, I know what I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. For example, fundraising, I had no idea. Business side, I know I'm not a good CEO. I'm not. Nah. In business side, I don't want to involve.
Okay. So here's what I think. I think you knowing what you don't know means you have the right amount of ego. Now, let's go back to the fundraising.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So, what about fundraising? What should we talk about?
So I know there is different approaches and levels.
Yeah.
When we are talking about fundraising.
Okay. And we've talked about that once.
Yes. Startups mostly start from bootstrapping.
Yeah.
They bootstrap as much as they can.
Yes.
And it's really healthy onto some level.
Oh, this is a good comment. Up to a certain level.
Yes.
So before we go about funding, I want to make a comment about bootstrapping.
Mm-hmm.
Bootstrapping, I think, is good at the very beginning because it keeps your focus on doing only the essential things that need to happen. But at a certain point, it can be counterproductive to the growth of the company.
Yes.
So one of the decisions that the team has to make is how much fund are they going to raise and how they're going to transition from bootstrapping to actually spending some serious money.
Mm-hmm.
And then the biggest consideration is how much impact is the money we're spending going to create.
Yes.
Now, since you've been bootstrapping, you'll have a tendency of overspending on certain things that might not create impact. How do you keep a close tap on exactly what's happening with a great controller who can come in there and actually question you on your choices and on your expenditure in order to make sure you're on track with creating impact with the money you're spending is extremely important. Okay, I derailed you again. Let's go back to the funding.
Yes.
Okay.
So starting from bootstrapping,
Yeah.
raising from friends and family.
Okay.
Then go to angels.
Okay.
And at the end, VC.
Oh my God. VCs. Okay.
Yeah. So depends on how much you are raising and what stage you are. You go and meet with one of them.
Okay.
VCs are, we know they have money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it seems like they are scary to deal with, at least for me.
Okay.
Okay. I want to know your perspective.
My perspective. This would be a long conversation.
Let's do that.
Okay. So, first of all, not all VCs are the same.
What do you mean?
We have VCs with different mandates and with different types of reputation.
Okay.
And with different approach to how they would get engaged. We have VCs who are owned by strategic companies who want to invest early in startups.
In certain areas.
Yeah, in certain areas, exactly. With the mindset that we want to have a tap on what's happening in the marketplace and then acquire what we need through the VC investments we've made.
Mm-hmm.
So VCs, of course, get their funds from their limited partners, which could be all kinds of investors, strategics, and all that, or any type of fund. And so VCs are not all made the same. So first thing that needs to happen, if anybody wants to raise funds from a VC, you'd have to know if that VC has the method of operation and the kind of ethical standards
Mm-hmm.
and this alignment in their vision that you have in your company.
Okay.
So some VCs are there for long term and they want to build, they want to stay, they're patient money, and they're gonna wait it out until you achieve everything you want to go and you go to a certain level before they even think about exiting.
Mm-hmm.
Some VCs want a quick buck and they want to go in there as soon as possible at 10x, 20x, whatever they can to exit a company. So there are all different kinds of it, right?
Okay. Let me stop you here and ask you a question.
Yeah.
How do VCs make money?
VCs invest in startups.
Okay.
And as the value of their investment goes up,
Mm-hmm.
there comes a time where they can cash out and they go to their LPs,
Mm-hmm.
they roll out the increased value to the LPs, and they take a portion of that added value.
Okay.
They would also usually charge an annual management fee for what they're managing.
So, do they charge startups as well
No,
as part of the service? No.
no. And in fact, you might see this in the market where some people call themselves VCs, and then they might approach a startup and say, "Hey, let me help you raise funds,
Mm-hmm.
and we might also invest." So you got to be careful with those because actual VCs they don't charge startups upfront for getting involved. Now, once VCs start getting involved with you, they might impose a charge if you walk away from a deal that they have offered you
Mm-hmm.
that you've preliminary accepted, because they spend a lot of time and resources on doing due diligence.
Yes.
And they want to make sure if you've shaken hands with them and they're going through due diligence and they said yes to you, you're not going to say, you know what, I changed my mind. So
Mm-hmm.
some of them impose that, yes, if we go to that level and you cross this line, and if you say no at that point, you have to pay us a certain amount of money to cover our costs. So that could happen. But that's usually after the fact that you've kind of courtship is done, you've chosen each other,
Yes.
everything is on the table, and you have a very clear vision where you want to go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
What's next about VCs we should know?
So there's a lot we can talk about when it comes to VCs. We can talk about the process, like how do VCs actually choose a startup?
Mm-hmm.
So, VCs are like a big funnel.
So we go to VCs or VCs come to us.
Both can happen.
Okay.
Both can happen. Usually, the startups kiss a lot of frogs before they find their prince. So there's more startups going to the VCs knocking on their door than there are VCs coming to startups and knocking on their door. But that being said, VCs do have a scout that actively reach out to all kinds of startups and they bring them in. Sometimes they see that the startup might not be investable. It doesn't match their investment criteria at the time. So they keep contact with the startup. They watch them as they grow to become eligible for the VCs to come in. And so depending on how much resources VCs have, they might look at a lot of deals, or some of them might be a whole lot more selective, and they have their own very specific niche.
So they may sustain a relationship,
yes,
but they are not committed.
No, of course
you should
not.
Dreaming about, oh, that VC likes me, they are going to invest on my idea. It's not like that.
No, of course not. Even when you think that they are absolutely interested in what you're doing, still a deal might not happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because VCs have a lot of options when they want to invest.
Yes.
And so what they do is they fill up their funnel, they create a short list, they create another short list out of that, they pick a few, they go into due diligence, and some might not pass due diligence. I've had friends who've gone into due diligences with VCs 2-3 times, and they haven't passed the due diligence, and then on the fourth or fifth time they've kind of got the VC money, right? And so they look at a lot of things. Usually, the due diligence that VCs do is not as exhaustive as an M&A. It's far less than that, but it could still be extremely exhaustive. They could come to you for documents. They would ask you to prove things to them.
Yeah.
They could want to see some kind of a progress in what you're doing. They want to see that you've achieved the goals that you set out to achieve based on the documents you presented in round one, round two, to all your pre-seed seed investors. So there's a lot they can ask for. Now, some people don't like VCs because they think the process could be a little bit cumbersome for them.
Yeah.
Most people love to have a VC because VCs, besides money, they bring a lot of expertise, and they can make connections, make introductions, and all that, which is extremely valuable to a startup. So there are all kind of feelings out there about VCs.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, maybe one time we can talk about VCs and how you actually choose a VC that's aligned with your vision. We can go through the process, and also we can talk about a few other things like control, dilution, exit, in the context of startups and VCs.
Sure. I have a question here for you. VC look at two different ideas.
Of course.
Different technologies, and they do the due diligence to make sure the idea works, it's worth investing in it, and everything. How do due diligence some ideas that are new to market?
Very good. So you see, usually people who are involved in a VC, they have a very niche expertise.
Yeah.
So for example, there could be 5 partners in a VC, and they could come and pick an area where they want to invest. For example, we want to invest in climate companies, and we want to invest in hardware or software or whatever they choose to invest in. And once their field is identified, then they try to either bring in partners who know a certain area in that field very deeply, or they bring experts who would come in there and assess the feasibility of the ideas for them. So you have scientists, you have business people, and they use third parties sometimes, and just to get ideas out of them. Like, I've been called by VC and says, hey, what do you think about this? You are in this field, and where do you see things going, and things like that. And we've had conversations about that, and it was interesting because they wanted to know what my perspective is, right?
Yes.
So anyway, I think I need to go soon, so let's end this podcast. We've been talking for about 13 minutes.
But it's one of those conversations that can keep going forever.
Yes, it can keep going. Well, thank you very much for watching us, being with us. We're going to continue this conversation because I know there's a whole lot more we can talk about in this. And please do subscribe if you wish to. And do leave us your comments and also any questions you might have. We'd love to get ideas on what to talk about. Again, this talk is not anything scientific. This is just our experiences, and we're sharing it with you. Have a great day.
See you.